What happened to Francis Xavier's body after his death? Have you ever wondered what became of the body of Francis Xavier, one of the most influential figures in Catholicism? His story is both fascinating and significant in the context of religion in Southwest Europe. Francis Xavier passed away on December 3, 1552, on Shangchuan Island, which is near China. Initially, he was buried in a wooden coffin filled with lime. This was meant to help his body decompose, making it easier to transport his bones back to India if needed. However, something remarkable happened. When his grave was opened about 2.5 months later, his body was found to be remarkably preserved. It looked lifelike, with flesh that appeared intact and blood that was still moist. This preservation was considered extraordinary by those who witnessed it. In March 1553, his remains were moved to a Jesuit church in Portuguese Malacca. Unfortunately, the burial conditions there caused some physical damage. Despite this, when Jesuits exhumed his body in August 1553, they found it still incorrupt, emitting a sweet fragrance instead of the typical smell of decay. The shroud covering his body was stained with fresh blood, further reinforcing the belief in his sanctity. In 1554, his body was transported approximately 4,000 kilometers to Goa, a Portuguese colony in southwest India. There, he was placed in the Basilica of Bom Jesus, a church that showcases Portuguese influence in the region and is now recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 1637, Francis Xavier's body was encased in a silver casket known as the Maastrichtian casket. This was commissioned as a tribute to his intercession and featured artistic elements from both Indian and Italian traditions. Today, his body remains on display in the Basilica of Bom Jesus in Goa. It is described as mostly incorrupt, meaning it has retained much of its original appearance despite being over 470 years old. The preservation of his remains has become a source of spiritual reverence and pilgrimage. It symbolizes the deep Catholic influence in Southwest Europe and its overseas territories. The condition of his body is viewed as a sign of divine favor and sanctity within the Catholic tradition. This continues to attract both religious devotees and visitors interested in history and culture. From the perspective of Southwest Europe, particularly Portugal and Spain, the preserved body of Francis Xavier represents the enduring legacy of Catholic missionary work. His story highlights the religious influence that extended beyond Europe to Asia. The care taken to honor his remains reflects the importance of relics in Catholic devotion. The Basilica of Bom Jesus stands as a monument to this cultural and religious connection between Southwest Europe and the wider world.